Welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzie. We have a great show for you today. The first topic we'll be covering is the Yankees and the news surrounding them with their injuries, including Gerrit Cole and Aaron Judge, two superstars. Next, we are recapping some AL and NL spring training games. I wanted to split it into two segments, so we have enough time to talk about everything. And finally, we'll be talking about, of course, some news around the league. A lot of notable stuff that was more minor and that I couldn't really talk about for a full segment, but still wanted to give my thoughts on. So, before we get into that, I would like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, to ensure that your question does get read in the air. Please use the link gsmcpodcast.net that you see on the screen. It really does help me. It really does help a lot. It really does help everyone. So, just make sure to do that, and let's get on to our show today. So, we're going to go into our first segment, and the first thing I'm going to be talking about is, I think, what a lot of people would expect, and I previewed it before, of course, and that is the New York Yankees, everyone's favorite team. Everyone loves the Yankees, of course, and what's going on with them. So, let's get straight into it. So, a few days ago, it was announced by Aaron Boone that Gerrit Cole was getting an MRI on his pitching elbow, which is never a good sign. Never can be a good sign whatsoever. It then came out that the reason for this was that he was not recovering well enough between starts, and an example was put from Cole himself saying after pitching the spring training games, his recovery felt like what it would feel like if he threw 100 pitches in a regular season game, which obviously is not ideal if you're a Yankees fan or you're Gerrit Cole, because in spring training, it's a practice run. You're throwing around 40 to 50 pitches, something like that. So anywhere from 1 to 3 innings, maybe 4 if you get really lucky, if they want to really spread you out. But other than that, you're not throwing that many pitches. It's not really a high-pressure environment. And the fact that he was feeling like this, feeling like he threw 100 pitches that day, when in reality it was a low-cost spring training game where there's not much, not much stuff going on, not a lot of expectations put on you. That is cause for concern, and the Yankees did the right thing. They sent him to get an MRI, and they're hoping for the best right now. We don't really know what's going to happen with that. All the reports that have come out have frankly not been good. No real way to sugarcoat that. Andy Martino said, kind of in a nice way that they're not expecting it to be good. Brian Hoke as well. Two guys who are known for for very reliable Yankees reports. So, if I'm a Yankees fan, I think you definitely have the right to be worried, 100%. This is not good news whatsoever. It could turn out to be fine. It definitely could. It could turn out to be just a minor thing. He misses a few starts, but, Boone's already come out and said that, he doesn't expect Gerrit Cole to be ready by opening day, which is not a good sign. Lance McCullers said they wouldn't have mentioned that he was getting an MRI if they didn't know something was wrong. So it's not looking good if you're a Gerrit Cole or a Yankees fan or the Yankees team in general. It's not good news the way you want to start off your spring. Everything was going so well for you guys. Soto was hitting the ball like Juan Soto. Everyone was performing well. And to just get this, it's really just kind of just a horrible break for you guys. Finally, everything was looking up in a season after some down seasons where you really haven't been the big bad New York Yankees that everyone knows of. So it really is something that's bad. Baseball simply is better when the Yankees are good. So I'm not happy about this either. I love watching Gerrit Cole. I think he's probably the best pitcher in baseball. So I can't describe how much of a big blow this is to the Yankees. Now again, it could be nothing. I mean, there's still a chance that happens. I doubt it. I do think this is going to be something with everything we've heard, but it could be something minor. He could miss a month or something like that, like Kodai saying with the Mets. Again, that's still not good, but in what you're expecting right now, that would probably be pretty great. It would probably be in 90-degree weather in December. I mean, if we're trying to put an example here, that was a weird example, but, just something, really good, something you're not expecting. So, I can't overstate how big of a blow this would be to the Yankees if he is seriously injured, or if he, for some reason, knock on wood if you're a Yankees fan, but he's out for the season or is out for a significant amount of time, has to get Tommy John, something like that. I've talked about it a few times on the show, but there are a lot of question marks with the Yankees rotation already. And Gerrit Cole was kind of everything that held it together, because you go past, you go past Cole and there's a lot of question marks. You have Carlos Rodon, who's dealing with injury risk always and has not performed well. Marcus Stroman, injury risk and didn't perform well in the second half. Nestor Cortez, injury risk as well. Clark Schmidt, younger guy, you don't know what you have with him. Same with Will Warren, same with Clayton Beater. Luke Weaver is fine, but he's more of a depth guy who can't really slot into a full-time rotation spot if you wanted him to, with high success. So there was a lot of question marks about the Yankees rotation, which is why a lot of people are not too high in them. I personally am, but Cole was he held everything together, really. You can say a lot about Gerrit Cole. You could talk about how he's the best pitcher in baseball, which I would probably agree with. You talk about how he's a bona fide ace, a guy that lived up to his contract in New York, everything you want from an ace, a face of the franchise. And another thing you want to mention with Gerrit Cole is how durable he is. Aside from being a guy every single opponent hitter fears, a guy that everyone respects, and a guy that everyone, when he goes in the mound, you say, oh no, I got to face him today. He's durable. He never missed a start. He hasn't missed a significant amount of starts in a long time in his career. And he's lived up to the Yankees contract, a lot of it because he's been healthy. You can pitch great all you want, but if you're pitching great and you're not on the field, it doesn't really matter. I think we saw that with Jacob deGrom, which is why inevitably he ended up leaving the Mets. And then he got Tommy John a few months later with the Rangers, and I think it proved the Mets right. So you could say a lot of things about Gerrit Cole, but he's always durable, and he really does not get injured that much. So the fact that this is happening right now is very worrisome and cannot be overstated for how big of a blow it would be for the Yankees if he is seriously injured. Another thing you have to look at is if this injury is serious, like a Tommy John, for example. Again, absolute worst case scenario, but you have to look at the worst case scenarios right now in what's happening with Cole. Is he ever going to be the same again? I think that's something you have to think about. You look at Jacob deGrom. People forget, but he was one of the more durable pitchers in baseball before around 2020. 2018, 2019, easy Cy Young. Because he stayed healthy, not just because of how amazing he was, because of how historic his seasons were, but because he was healthy along with that. So if, again, the worst possible scenario happens here where Cole is out for the season or gets Tommy John or something even worse, I don't know it would be worse than Tommy John for a pitcher, but you get the idea. Is he ever going to be the same again? And with the amount of years he has left in his contract, I'm not sure. I think that's a conversation worth having if it does end up being the worst case scenario. But other than that, just for this year, again, such a huge loss if he is out for the year. You had so much promise for this year because of Soto, a lot of new additions, because of the guys in the rotation, who already had a lot of injury risk. You're getting Cole, you solidify that. You had so much hope for the season. Even with those guys being question marks, because you have this ace, it would just be such a huge blow, such a huge loss to this team, to this fan base. So you really hope that he is okay. And at this point, we know something is wrong. So you just have to hope it's best case scenario, which is maybe out for a few weeks or so, or just rehabbing a little bit. Maybe something like, again, an example of Kodai Senga with the Mets. So that's really what you have to hope for right now if you're a Yankees fan. Also, when looking at this, you have to think, does Cole getting injured, or potentially being out for a long, long time, a significant amount of time, does that push them to get a guy like Blake Snell, like Jordan Montgomery, even Dylan Cease? Starting off with Snell and Montgomery, I don't think it does personally. Do I think they should go after one of them? Absolutely. I think Jordan Montgomery makes a lot of sense for the Yankees. If you're putting personal stuff aside with him because you traded him, he wasn't very happy with how the trade went down. He makes perfect sense for you guys. To me, he's a perfect number 2 or 3 in that Yankees rotation. With the question marks you have, I feel like he solidifies a lot of that. He has experience in the Bronx. He knows how to play there. So I think he would be a great fit there, and I think they should look at him even if Cole is injured or not. I thought they should have before. And now, especially with Cole being hurt, I think they should. I don't think they will, just because simply of the money problem, just because of where you are on the luxury tax. So you really can't. That's the only problem. So I wouldn't expect either of those guys to go to the Yankees. But also now, another one that's been mentioned with them in their pitching talks is Dylan Cease. He came out today from Bob Nightingale. You take everything Nightingale says with a grain of salt, but he is usually right with White Sox stuff, so we'll give him that the Yankees made a new offer to the White Sox for Dylan Cease. It is not believed to include prize prospect Spencer Jones, which is who the White Sox really covet, so I don't think it'll get done. And Andy Martino said it himself that the Yankees believe, people in the league believe the Yankees are very behind other teams in their offers for Dylan Cease. So I guess we could. Dylan Cease market may be moving again for some reason, so we may see him get dealt. I still think he gets dealt at the deadline at this point, but anything could surprise me right now. So I think you have to look at that. I think Cease makes a lot of sense still for the Yankees. I agree with them in not giving up Spencer Jones. I've talked about him before. I think he's an absolute stud, amazing player. So I agree with them in that case. But you have to get some kind of pitcher, I think, if Cole is injured, if you want to win this year, especially because you have a lot more on your shoulders because of Soto being a free agent next year and wasting your potential 1 year with him. You have teams like the Mets, like the Cubs, other teams as well, who are going to really go after Soto hard in the offseason, I believe. And you can't waste that 1 year. So, again, huge loss if you were to lose Cole, and I really can't overstate how bad it would be. And to add insult to injury now, Aaron Judge is also getting an MRI. He's getting an MRI for his abs. He said the goal is to play opening day, and that's a very unique choice of words right there because he's not saying, I'm going to play opening day 100%, nothing to worry about if you're a Yankees fan. He's now saying his goal is to play opening day. And if I was a Yankees fan, I'd be pretty worried about that. He's not saying, again, 100% I'm playing, nothing to worry about. He's saying in coded language, there's something here, but it's not that big of a deal, but it's still there, and you still should worry about it. And because of Aaron Judge and who he is, you have to be worried because he missed most of last year with an injury. Again, that injury wasn't his fault. It was a freak baseball play, but it still exists. He has an injury past. He's frankly a very big guy. He's a very athletic guy, and I think there was a lot of question marks about him with this long-term contract. Could his body potentially break down? Like, for example, like his teammate, Giancarlo Stanton, whose body has definitely broken down over the course of his contract. I don't think that was a big concern, but it was something you had to look at because of who Aaron Judge is, because of the contract he got, and because of his past. So I think that's definitely a question mark. And, if Judge would be out for an extended amount of time, let's say, he isn't saying it right now. Obviously, it's just the abs, so it's not a big deal, but that affects your lineup in so many ways. I mean, you were banking on Soto and Judge, probably one of the greatest 2-3 punches in baseball history. I mean, you got Soto, who's easily a top 3 hitter in the game, Judge, who's top 3 hitter as well, most likely. And also both are definitely top 10 players in this game. I mean, that's just an incredible 2-3, and losing one of those guys would be an absolute blow. So, again, I can't say enough about how bad it would be to lose Judge. And again, losing Cole. So losing Cole to me is just more significant because he is a pitcher and because of the worries you have on pitching staff. Again, Judge is probably the better player, but it's also pretty close. And because Cole is a pitcher and because of the question marks you have in your rotation, I think he would be a guy who losing him would be a huge, huge negative. Of course, both these guys are, but for Cole more for me personally. Not great start to the Yankees fans season. Vibes were so great going in. It was reported. We've seen how well Soto's been doing. Everyone's kind of been really happy in camp. Everyone's been doing well after the embarrassment that was last season. The Yankees are trying to get back to that, big bad Yankees moniker, the Bronx Bombers, especially adding Soto. I mean, one of the better hitters in baseball, a guy I absolutely love. So not great. Not a great start for the Yankees in their quest for this year, in their quest to get out of the gutter a little bit. But again, these injuries might just be temporary. So if you're a Yankees fan, that's all you can hope for. That Cole isn't seriously injured. That Judge isn't. Seems to be more of a injury risk right now on Cole. You should be more worried about Cole if I was you guys. I think Judge is probably going to miss a few days in the start of the season. That should be fine. But this specific injury, again, Judge can always get injured for something else just because he is who he is, because of his past and because of what his body is. So, but for this specific injury, I wouldn't be that worried. But if I'm a Yankees fan, simply I would be worried about Gerrit Cole. I don't know how you wouldn't be. So, yeah, definitely something to watch out for here. So, that is my first segment, talking about the Yankees and their injuries. We're going to move on to our second segment here today, which is going to be about spring training recap, specifically AL games. I wanted to split into AL and NL because of just to give myself enough time to talk about it because of the limited time we have here today, because it is only an hour. So we'll be talking about that all throughout Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I didn't stream on Monday or put out any content except some shorts. I'm sorry about that. Obviously, I told it on the podcast on Friday, but I was not able to live stream. But I did plan on getting out recordings for you guys and posting it on YouTube and audio platforms. But unfortunately, I had some problems with my flight coming back home, so I wasn't able to. I got home very late, so I do apologize about that. But everything's good now. I'll be doing this for a long time. No real breaks for a long, long time. So excited to get more content out for you guys. And sorry about that little going into a tangent here about what's happening, but want to keep people updated. So we're going to go into our first break after that. So see you in segment 2 after that. Thanks.